Republican National Convention kicks off tonight. The GOP will show off their party's platform and officially nominate President Trump for a second term. Tonight's theme is called Land of Promise. But first, here's a look back at some big moments from past Republican conventions.
I pledge to you a government that will not only work well, but wisely. Its ability to act tempered by prudence, and its willingness to do good, balanced by the knowledge that government is never more dangerous than when our desire to have it help us blinds us to its great power to harm us.
The Congress will push me to raise taxes, and I'll say no, and they'll push, and I'll say no, and they'll push again, and I'll say to them, read my lips. No new taxes.
I'm running for president with a clear and positive plan to build a safer world and a more hopeful America.
These are people who work hard but no longer have a voice. I am your voice.
Conventions usually give the nominees a bump in the polls. According to a new ABC News Ipsos poll, after last week's Democratic convention, Joe Biden's favorability jumped from 40 to 45%. Now President Trump is hoping for a boost of his own. Let's bring in ABC News Political Director Rick Klein now for a preview of the week ahead. Good morning, Rick.
Hey, great to be with you.
Great to have you. So we're learning that the president actually played a direct role in a lot of the planning. Where can we expect to see some of that come through?
Well, I think you could expect to see it in his nightly presence. We're expecting him to be out there in front of his own convention every night of the convention. His family members will be all over this. A lot of people with the last name of Trump. There hasn't been as much time to plan this convention, quite frankly. So they've been stuffing it with speakers. A lot of them will be regulars from the cable news circuit, particularly Fox News, people inside his administration, and some people that have been kind of made famous by the Trump era, maybe by no fault of their own. So a lot of different stories will be highlighted, but the central theme is going to be very much Donald Trump. So
as you said, we're going to hear from members of the Trump family, also administration officials and GOP lawmakers, but there are also some speeches by civilians who've benefited from Trump policies. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yeah, either benefited from policies or just made famous or infamous in the internet age under confrontations or viral videos. We're talking like people like the McCloskeys, who were photographed very famously outside their home in St. Louis, brandishing weapons as Black Lives Matter protesters came close to their house. We're talking like people like Nick Sandmann, who is the Covington Catholic student who had that tense confrontation outside the Lincoln Memorial with Native American activists, and Alice Johnson, who's the great-grandmother whose cause was championed by Kim Kardashian. She ended up getting a commutation by President Trump because of that personal appeal. And we remember her from the Oval Office. So different stories, different sides of Donald Trump, a lot of folks that may not be typical during a national political convention.
Well, on that note, it's not a typical convention, as we know. So how will this year's RNC compare to 2016? And how will it compare to the Democratic convention we saw last week?
Well, 2016 convention for Donald Trump was a wild time. We had chants and boos against Ted Cruz when he said, vote your conscience. We had Melania Trump plagiarizing a big portion of her speech from something Michelle Obama had done. And we had, frankly, a lot of disorganization on the floor. It was insane at times. There were even threats of arrest against some Republicans who were a little bit rowdy. We won't see any of that because most of them won't actually be in the room. And I think in terms of last week, the difference in terms of planning, I can't overstate. The Democrats had months to plan what the Republicans had to pull together in weeks. So anything that requires a lot of snazzy production, I don't think it's going to happen. There'll be a lot more live speeches, and even though there isn't as much of an in-person convention, we're going to see the delegates convening just this morning in Charlotte to renominate President Trump, and then some more in-person attendees right here in Washington, D.C. at the Mellon Auditorium, which is just about a block or so from the Trump Hotel and just a few blocks from the White House.
But of course, the main point of the whole thing is that President Trump will be making the case for why he deserves re-election. What are the key points he's expected to stress there?
Yeah, he actually putting out some points of policy just this morning, and it very much focuses on recovery, getting the country back on track in 2021. The economy, you'll hear lots of themes. His argument that Joe Biden and the Democrats will raise taxes and tank an economic recovery, safety, security, America first. You know, you can go back and watch that speech from 4 years ago, and there are so many similar themes, including his vows to keep people safe from violence in the streets. So all of these things, I think, are themes that have run through the Trump era, And even though a lot has changed and he's president now, there are some real consistencies in terms of the messaging.
And Rick, the fans have spoken and they demand we play another edition of Stump Rick Klein. Sorry, my friend.
It's okay. There's a prize this time, I hope.
Question number 1. When was the last floor fight for a major party nomination?
The last floor fight for a major party nomination, I think you'd have to go back to 1980 to declare a real floor fight. The Democrats in 1980 had Jimmy Carter and Ted Kennedy. It only went to one ballot, but that was defined as a floor fight. So depending on, you're going to give me a wrong answer on this, I will dispute you.
Uh-oh.
I will
We're going to have to go to the judges on this one because I'm being told the answer is 1976 when Ronald Reagan battled Gerald Ford at the RNC in Kansas City.
Maybe if that was a Republican convention, but I'm going to go with my answer, and I will stand by that, despite what you're telling me.
Judge's ruling. Josh says he'll allow it, and in this case, by judges, I mean Josh, because that's the only person who really works on these things. Rick Klein, question number 2: How many times did former Minnesota Governor Harold Stassen seek the Republican nomination?
This is one of those records that nobody's going to break. It's like Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak. He ran for president 9 times, from 1948 to 1980. And by the... once again, you're going to call me wrong on this one?
I'm being told you've actually underestimated that it's 12 times, from 1948 to 2000.
Once again, I'm gonna appeal this one, but if that's what you're telling me, I guess I'll accept it for now. We'll revisit it another time. In any event, unless Mayor Pete runs for like the next 60 years, no one's breaking this record.
Josh is not holding on much to his answers here. He's just ding, capitulated. Rick appeals and Rick gets it. All right, so now I don't know if it was 12 or 9 times, but either way, a lot of times. Finally, when and where was the only Republican National Convention forced to delay, or whether?
The weather delay there was a delay because of weather elsewhere in the 2008 convention. It actually wasn't weather there that was causing the delay. So I don't know if you were going to count that. The Minneapolis convention in 2008, because there were storms in Florida, there were delays.
2012 in Tampa, Florida, was delayed for a hurricane.
We're going to need some more precise language on all of these points, because I was there in 2008 and we canceled the night of the convention because of hurricanes elsewhere in the country. They didn't like the optics on the Republican side.
What do you think, Josh? Josh says nope. He's not giving you that one.
Okay,
that's fine. He's not
giving
you that one.
That's fine. Josh, we'll take it up later. 2012 was delayed. I should have known that as well.
Can we document this confrontation, please? This might make for good breaking news. Rick, always great to have you. Thank you. ABC News Political Director Rick Klein. Great preview. Great playing, Stump Rick Klein. And remember, ABC News has complete coverage of the kickoff to the 2020 Republican National Convention. George, David, and Lindsay will bring you the latest. That's tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC News.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.